Good morning or afternoon, wherever you are. I am here sharing with you this morning a bit of thoughts on this Easter week. Our week is filled with some anticipation and concern, obviously, with the coronavirus and the apex that is expected to peak over these next couple of weeks. Many of us are shut into our homes. I'm working from home. But my conversation today has to do with a newsletter that I produce. Each week I produce a newsletter that is intended to just inspire us about what is happening in foster care in particular. And this newsletter is something that I publish to make available to anyone. And one of the articles that I gathered just today are is sort of related, but it's an article that I thought I would share with you. It's put out by metrofamilymagazine.com, and you can see it here in my newsletter. 3 things Easter has taught me about foster care. It's a wonderful story about a couple that are engaged in foster care, and here they are. Keith and Staci Howard are the authors of this particular article, and they look like your average family doing the average thing, sharing about what is going on in life. And they put this devotional together that I thought I would share with you. It's a reminder that, Jesus withdrew about a stone's throw away from them, and he knelt down and he prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Not my will, but yours be done." Luke 22 and verse 41 through 42. And during Easter week, we're reminded that Jesus sacrificed was for our sake. It was for the sin that we are a part of, generational, as well as the decisions that we make that we would classify as sin. Pride and other things creep into our lives, and we become very selfish people. But this devotional reminds us of these 3 things. First of all, that there's always the desire for something easier. Foster care is not an easy thing. And so this couple is sharing with us that in Jesus's humanity, he was looking for something else. If this cup of bitterness, this difficulty that he's going to have to face, the going to the cross, then, if anything, it reminds us that we all have that desire within us to do something that's easy. But truthfully, as you read this article that I'll post associated with this video, it's a reminder to think about what is not easy at this time. Foster care is something that's still a need for, and we need you to support those in foster care or to do foster care in your own home. The article goes on to say that the journey is lonely. This is a ministry that Jesus did that was very much on his own. And when you do foster care, you might feel like an island. Of course, we think of foster care as a people gathering ministry that you have resources of those that are closest to you. It could be your church family, your friends. It could be your family that cares about you, brothers and sisters, perhaps parents, grandparents. They want to support you. And if anything, Easter teaches us that even though the road may be lonely, God walked directly with us. He walks beside us. In our obedience, he's with us. And clearly the next thing that we learn from this article is that the story isn't over. It's a journey. This couple took this journey to do foster care. And in this article, it's a reminder that Jesus wrote the story of redemption while it was in its darkest day, when there seemed to be no hope. Religious leaders and others didn't quite grasp the understanding that Jesus was going to bring a new message of hope and redemption, that we could go to the Father for prayer, and we don't necessarily have to go through a priest. We go directly to God because Jesus becomes our intercessor because of what was done on the cross, and of course his story of resurrection. but the story isn't over. The story in its darkest days is not over. And so I credit this couple, Keith and Staci Howard, for being fearless in being a foster parent. And you could see their biographical information. In Oklahoma is where they're from, and they write a blog. And this one got, of course, published in the Metro Family magazine. And each week when I publish in my newsletter, I try to make sure that I cover relevant topics, and that's one of them. And it's a devotional for us today. But during these days of the pandemic, here's something we should know, that during the days of the pandemic, people are still doing foster care. They're still taking children and youth into their home. And so I encourage you to do that. Take children and youth into your home. Love them, care for them, and support those that do take children into their home. Pray for them, provide for the resources they need, and certainly lift them up in prayer, but also send them notes of encouragement. These are just a few thoughts as it relates to my thoughts on the pandemic and foster care. So I just want to say to you that it's going to be a wonderful Resurrection Sunday, a wonderful Easter for us to think about and to enjoy the wonderful fellowship. While we may not be together physically, we are joined together in spirit, and we are praying together in spirit. We are worshiping together in spirit from churches from all over, in many denominations, and globally. They are lifting up the story of Christ's resurrection during this Easter season, during this week of Passover. But God bless you in this time, and may you be encouraged today.